only got one more night. I'm gonna leave out loud goodbye.
This gonna be the type of night they
What
make
up? What up?
movies about.
What up? It's your boy, Mr. Von. Mr. Von Channel Sweatbox. We back. We live. We active here on the channel. Yes, indeed. You know how we do. Still dodging those digital jabs, baby. Woo, we out here. Let's talk about Halo Episode 5, Reckoning. You see the smile on my face? This episode was awesome. Look, man, there's a lot of the big channels that ain't covering Halo the show, and that's fine. I'm not hating. You choose to cover what you cover, but y'all missing out, man. Campia, how come y'all ain't doing any coverage on this? Y'all missing out. I'm gonna have to talk to my man over at Campia Show. What's his little brother-in-law's name? I don't remember his name, but he's a Halo fan. I know he's watching the show. I want to see what he thinks. This episode was litty, boy. This episode was litty. We've been wanting the action since episode 1. We got the action. Woo! And it was. So let's talk about this episode. So the episode picks up pretty much where we left off after they discovered the artifact. Halsey's basically brought in an entire military brigade, battalion or whatever. She done brought in a whole team to get this artifact. They done brought in a huge UNSC frigate. It was bigger than it was. I don't remember the name of the ship, but they brought in a whole frigate, like a ship the size of like the Pillar of Autumn. You know what I'm saying? They brought in everything. They had the whole Spartan team, the whole Spartan Silver team was there. The entire Silver team was there, and they're trying to get the artifact. They're trying to get the artifact out the thing. There's the scene of them where the Spartans are briefing the Marines of what the mission is. Kai's talking to Vanek, and she's like, "What do you think the Covenant wants?" Vanek's like, "They want the artifact." Yeah, what do they really want? They want to kill us, just like we want to kill them. You ever wonder why? No. You ever wonder why? You don't wonder why? It's like Vanek looked at her like, "I wonder if that gun grease done seeped into your brain asking me these dumbass questions." Bro, Vanek is my dude. He's so hard, bro. He's so hard. I seen somebody say, "What if Vanek never had his pellet in, and that's just how he is?" I'm like, I'll buy it. I'm with it. Vanek hard. Kai was like, "All right, man, whatever." She didn't even say that. She just looked at him like, "Okay, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to go there." She just had the look of just devastation, like her soul had been crushed. And then as she steps out into the tent, Master Chief sees, and Cortana's like, "Oh yeah, I noticed her hair too." So Master Chief immediately knows that she took her pellet out. And he approaches her, he steps to her about it, and he's like, "You're not combat ready. I can't clear you for combat, Kai." And Kai's like, "What?" She said, "You're a danger to yourself." He said, "If I'm a danger, what does that make you?" He said, "Nope." But she was 100% right, but she was also 100% wrong, as we will see later in the episode. Alright, let me just get this Quan stuff out the way. Quan's story continues to be garbage. Hot garbage. It's the worst thing on the show. And in episodes where there's not a lot of action, her story really just... And God bless her, because the actress is fine. She's doing fine with the character. I believe her character motivations are just trash. The only thing that's salvaging this story is the fact that she's with Soren. This episode, they only had, I think, 2 scenes, maybe 3. They're on Magical. Soren's bike's crapped out, so they get stuck in the desert. He tries to go find some transportation. He cuffs her to the bike and tells her, "You got to work off the debt." She's still on her, "I'm going to free Magical." No, you're not. You're not. That is so over. Nobody cares about that anymore. Not the fans of the show, not the people of Magical, because they've seen the Covenant. They know the Covenant is real. So stop with this "I'ma save Magical" garbage. It's stupid. That storyline is done. They need to fix Quan's character. Nobody cares about this. Across the board, everybody, even fans, people who love the show, nobody cares about Quan's storyline. You gotta do better with it. That is the #1 criticism going forward. Otherwise, the show's dope. Soren is a dope character, so that's the only thing salvaging Quan's character, is because Soren is so likable. Other than that, it's bad. It's really bad. So, anyway. Long story short, Soren cuffs her to the bicycle, goes to get transportation. She gets mad, rolls the bike around, has a fit, ends up breaking the cuffs. Soren comes back with a vehicle. She's hiding in the dirt. She zaps him, puts the gun to his head, and contemplates killing him. That's literally everything that happens in her story in this episode. Done with that. Let's get to the real story. Back on Arrhenius, whatever that planet's name is, John's home planet. They're trying to get the artifact out. The stupid little weird scientist that works with Halsey, they got a laser trying to test on it, trying to get into it. He gets all close to it, and it cracks, and it lets out this streak that, everybody's ears is hurting. You know what I'm saying? Then Chief runs in there, and then the little crystal casing that the object was in shatters, and you see that it's just another object. It's clearly a piece of Forerunner tech. You clearly see it's a piece of Forerunner tech for those of us in the know. For those that don't in the know, but it looks similar to the artifact that they found on Magical. It's just a bigger version of it. Chief comes in there. Oh, let me rewind a little bit. Chief had been talking to Jacob Keyes. I'm tripping. The opening of the episode, I totally forgot this, and I'm sorry. This was my fault because I forgot this. The opening of the episode was a flashback scene to Chief as a kid on Arrhenius, and Halsey and Jacob Keyes coming there under the guise of a married couple looking to move there. They see John, and John is playing some game where he's kind of like getting bullied. Some kid falls up. They're playing like some stupid ropes course game. The kid almost falls off. John saves him. And then that's when Halsey realizes, yeah, I'm gonna kidnap this little kid. That's when she looked up at her eyes and had dreams of kidnapping in her eyes. She was like, ooh, I can't wait to snatch him from his parents. Halsey's a terrible person. Okay, so anyway, that happens, and then it transitions to Jacob Keyes, and Master Chief, fast forward, Master Chief is talking to Keyes, and he's telling him how he can't trust. He feels like he can't trust Miranda. I mean, he can't trust Halsey. Excuse me. He can't trust Halsey. And that's it. He's like, I don't feel like I trust Halsey. Jacob Keyes is like, I'll look into it as soon as. Let's just get this artifact back to Reach, and I promise you, I'll look into it myself. Meanwhile, Miranda Keyes has been given authority to look at the artifact through her father, so she's happy about that. And then they found out that what's her name? I always forget Paragoski. Thank you. Paragoski has completely lost faith in Halsey. So Halsey threatens to blackmail Paragoski, and because of that, Jacob Keyes is like, man, I don't want Miranda involved in any of this. You guys are doing too much dirt, and I want Miranda kept safe. So he tells her that he's they demand that Miranda gets pulled off of the thing. He goes to tell Miranda she's not happy about it. She's like, what does Halsey have on you? Not knowing that he's doing it to protect her. She's saying Halsey's evil. But she's pissed because she can't do her work. So I like all of that. That all is good development. And I know I may feel like I'm rushing through this, but I want to get to the action. So then, let's fast forward back to the artifact. Chief, now frustrated because he can't get any answers, he asks Cortana, give me some information on my adoption. Cortana's like, there are no records. Give me some information on the other Spartans. There's no records. Any information on the Spartan program. There's no records. Why is that? Even Cortana's like, I don't know. So you start to see that she's even starting to question some of Halsey's motives. Okay? I like that. That starts to develop. You got to get to that developed bond of Cortana and Chief. But I get it. It's build it over time. So then Chief goes in to touch the artifact, and all the memories come back. He recognizes Halsey kidnapped him. Meanwhile, Halsey comes in and sees what happened. He looks up and he's like, you kidnapped me. You kidnapped me. And he snaps. He tries to attack Halsey, and Cortana shuts him down. And you're saying, boom. And then it cuts to the next scene. He's waking up. Halsey's gone. He's just surrounded by some Marines. He's like, what happened? And Cortana's like, I had to shut you down. You tried to attack Halsey. He was like, you could do that? She was like, yeah. So it sounds they're about to get into this huge argument about, I need you to get out of my head. The minute he says that, woo, the goosebumps hit because you hear, slip space rupture detected. Cortana says, slip space rupture detected. Now, if you're a fan like me, especially from Reach, but if you hear those words, slip space rupture detected, it means trouble. Chief looks up and he sees they're incoming. And he sees the UNSC frigate ship just get lit up by Banshees. And then the Covenant's here. And the war is brought to them. The war is brought to them. The Covenant start, and this is, let me tell you, if there was some suspect moments in episode 1 where the CGI wasn't adding up, they made up for it in episode 5. The CGI and the action in this was everything that I wanted in a Halo TV show. I was so amped watching it as it all unfolded. As Chief ran out on the battlefield and they gave him the sword and Silver Team mounted up, the Corvette class Covenant ship uncloaks and starts dropping down Covenant troopers, and Cortana was calling out orders, and it was just so awesome. They're in the Warthog racing. She's like, Jackal right here. Grunt's coming 3. Oh, it was so awesome. He's like, I know how to play the game, Cortana. I know how the game's played, Cortana. I was like, great, that's hilarious. But man, this action was so awesome. From the Marine getting murdered by the super carbine with the and then just get turned into the mist. The Grunt that carjacks the Warthog, and then the Chief comes and kills the Grunt. It was so epic. Everything was epic, and it just kept getting more epic. Okay, Kai was hard to start out with. That scene of her on the rocks with the sniper rifle shooting down the Banshees as the Chief and the other Spartans was running out to get the artifact to the... Oh, it was so epic. And then it starts to go bad. A Phantom drops down behind them and drops off a bunch of troops. Some Jackals with swords and shields start murdering them. So Kai starts shooting them, and then she starts to see the insane carnage that's taking place. And now that her pellet's gone, the emotional response just overtakes her, and she starts to get overwhelmed. Her shields go down. She gets blown up by a grenade. Or by an explosion. She's dying. It's done for her. Chief and them guys is racing almost to the ship, about to get the artifact to the ship. He sees Kai's about to die. Halsey and Cortana's like, no, Chief, you gotta stay with the artifact. And she's like, I ain't about to let her die. Man, Chief jumps off the Warthog onto a Banshee and hijacks it just like the game. Has the pistol, shoots through it. He doesn't fully hijack it, but he kills the dude and he starts to steer it. He steers it into the Phantom that had dropped down, dropping the troops. Crashes the Banshee into the Phantom. It was epic. It was epic. Huge explosion. It was dope. CGI was dope. Not even to mention the fact, I didn't even mention the fact they brought down the whole UNSC frigate. There's a shot of the UNSC frigate crashing as Jacob Keyes is looking at it. It reminded me of a shot from like Battle Los Angeles. It was an epic shot though. Or Star Wars even, like when a Star Destroyer, it was an epic shot. The CGI in this episode was on point. I loved it. So then after Master Chief does the most Master Chief shit ever, crashes the Banshee into the Phantom and explodes, and everybody's dead. You see a Jackal with his legs blown off, just trying to crawl and dies. The other ones get up all worried. Master Chief is like, let's do this work. There's like 10, 15 Jackals and Grunts between him and the artifact. or excuse me, between him and Kai, who's about to get murdered by a Sangheili elite. He puts in work. Starts off with a pistol, switches to the shotgun, grabs a plasma pistol, putting in all the work. Just runs through a whole bunch of Covenant. It was awesome. Vintage Master Chief. Gets over to the elite, beats the piss out of him, stomps on his head. Kai's like, Chief, you're tripping, bro. You gotta calm down. Go get the artifact. He's like, oh yeah. Then you hear, Covenant Spirit inbound. Boom. And then the episode goes from here to here. The spirit drops down and we get a brute chieftain. Drops down, gravity hammer and all. Swings the gravity hammer at Chief. Chief grabs the energy shield from the Jackal. That's the only thing that saved him. Gets knocked back by the brute. The brute's just standing there in all his glory. He looked awesome. The CGI on the brute looked awesome. Chief is like, Cortana, I'm gonna need a weapon. Cortana's like, I don't think it's gonna help. the brute uses the gravity hammer to summon the artifact over, just like Tartarus did in Halo 3 or Halo 2, whatever Halo it was. Halo 2. And then he just gets beamed up back to the spirit, and then the Covenant escapes with the artifact. And then they drop my key down as the Trojan horse, and then and Master Chief sees her, and then that's how the episode ends. This episode was so epic, man. It was so epic. It was everything that I wanted from the Halo show from the beginning. I can't say enough how good this episode was. Let me hold up a second. There we go. All right. It was the best episode yet. The action was on point. They did such a good job with it. This episode was the best. For all of you people that was complaining, where's the action been? I agree. But the build-up made it so worth it. I love the story development that they gave us, because you get this. You can't just have action without story. All these stupid reviewers complaining about this and that. Now, granted, if you complaining about the Quan storyline, I ain't gonna give you no beef. That story's trash. But the character development of everything that's happening with the UNSC, Master Chief, Halsey, all of that is great. I saw this one YouTuber who totally reminded me of Joel Ortiz. Dude was dope, and I loved his review and everything, but he kept literally getting physically upset about the fact that Chief kept taking his helmet off. I'm like, bruh, it's a television show. You don't think these actors who get paid for their face gonna want to see their face shown? He's gonna take the helmet off. Stop that. It's just anyway. But in this episode, he had that helmet on, was putting in work, boy. Was putting in work, man. This episode was awesome. So stop complaining about this show. This show is dope. It's already coming back for season 2. I can't wait. This is only episode 5. We got 5 more episodes left. Now here's the thing that I am worried about. Because, granted, I know they can't. They blew the budget on this episode. This was the shortest episode of the season, and that's why they blew the budget on that action scene, and it was worth it. I'm only worried is now, is that it? Because I went back and watched the trailer. Almost every action scene that they showed in the trailers, we have now seen between the first episode and this episode. The only real scene left is the scene where it shows Silver Team jumping out of the Pelican, where he's like, Silver Team on me, and he does the Halo jump, no pun intended, out of the Pelican. So I don't know what that's gonna be. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have some more action for us towards the end of the season, some more action, epic action. But this one they brought it. I loved it. It was great. More of this, please. So that's my review of Halo Episode 5, man. Reckoning. It was all of that and then some. If I gotta put an 80 on, if this was the closest to a 10 out of 10, this is not a 10 because the Quan stuff was still trash. Fix Quan's character, please. Fix Quan's character. I'm gonna give you guys some leniency and say you guys can fix Quan's character. I'm gonna stick with it. Maybe her storyline is gonna tie back in. Hopefully it will tie in, because her storyline is trash. And protect Soren, because I like him. Other than that, man, let me know what y'all thought of this episode, Halo Episode 5, Reckoning. It was so good. So leave your comments below. Make sure you keep it locked. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, make sure you check out the travel vlogs, all the other things we got going on the channel. Until next time, you know how we do.
I'ma go to the ends with you. I'ma go to the end with you. I'ma go.